Hey guys, we are going to look at how fractions are actually decimals. So when we see a fraction, like say you have the fraction 1/2. Okay, you've seen this fraction before, it's nothing new. We know that this line here, and we've talked about this when we talked about division, is actually just a division symbol. So when we think about like division symbols, we think of division like this. We can think of division like this, like I call it like the little house. And we can think of division sideways, right? But we can also think of it just a straight across line, which is our fraction, where we put our numerator on top and our denominator on the bottom. And I always think of the D is down, so that's the number that's down, further down. Okay, so we can think of fractions as decimals because we know that this line is actually, fractions as division, because we know that this line is divided by, as well as this symbol, and this symbol. So these are all ways to show things are being divided by something. So let's go back to, say that Miss Falcone eats half of a pizza, because I love pizza. So I would have eaten half of it, right? One piece out of maybe two pieces, right? I cut the pizza into two pieces and I ate one piece. So the top is how much you have eaten or you have, and the bottom is how much there was originally there. So we have our half. This is again division. So what we do is we think, okay, I like to think of it this way. That number on top is way too heavy. Like you cannot hold up this number anymore. So it falls down, and I'm going to use my normal division symbol that we've seen a lot. So that number is so heavy, it's on top, and it falls through. So it falls through the roof. Kind of think of this as that division line right here, the fraction line. And then our 2 scurries out of the house to get out of the way of the numerator falling through. You know, I come up with silly little analogies. That's just a silly analogy I came up with. Okay, so that is how I think of it. Okay, and we have not really talked a lot about how we can divide. So when we do our normal division, we would say, okay, can 2 times something get me 1? It can't, right? So it's 0, okay, because 2 times 1 is even 2. That's too big. So 2 times 0 got me 0, and I can subtract. Remember our don't marry someone bald that I strongly disagree with. Okay, so we subtract it, and we have 1 minus 0 is 1. And we don't have anything to bring down, right? But what we do now is we would add a decimal here. So we add a decimal and then a 0 after that, because when we add a decimal and we put a 0 after, does that really change this number? No, it's still 1, right? We could add a bazillion zeros after the decimal and it's still a 1. So we would add just a 0, and then we bring it on down. So I would bring it on down, okay? And now we go back to multiplying. 2 times something, I don't know what, gets me 10. 2 times what gets me 10? Should be 5. So I would put my 5 up above. 5 times 2 gets me 10. So that was our multiply. And now I subtract. So half is really, as a decimal, just 5/10. Okay? We can look at another one that actually is what we're going to see some in our practice today. But say we have a larger number on top. Say I have, let's see, I don't want to use, I'll use 5. I'll use 10. Okay, say I have 10 on top, and my bottom is 5. All right, so 10/5 is how you would read that fraction. 10 over 5. But when we think about, okay, this line right here is just the division symbol. That 10 falls through, and 5 scurries out to get out of the way of the 10 falling through. Okay? And we go back to don't marry someone bald which again I disagree with, so maybe it should be do, Mary, someone bold. And so we've divided, and now we're going to multiply. 5 times, I don't know what on top, gets me 10. So 5 times what gets me 10? That's easy. 2. 5 times 2 is 10. We subtract, gives us 0. So really, 10 over 5 equals what? Equals 2. All right, and that's how we're going to figure out our mixed numbers and our mixed fractions, is going from knowing that a fraction is actually just division. Good luck on your